Hello, chat. Hi, guys. How are we all doing today? Whoa, it's been a bit. Been a little bit. Who did I see in chat? Lunar, Willow, Skitty, Ellipti, Sammy. Just started listening to the Hermit Archives and I love it. Impulse is currently my favorite character in the series. Fuck yeah. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm assuming you said listening, so you're listening to the podfic, which is exciting. Congratulations, Zane. I'm doing quite well today. I had a lovely weekend of mostly working on animation stuff for classes, but I'm excited to read some more alternate universe. We're getting very, very close to the ending. Chapter 43 today, and tomorrow will be 44, and then 45 is the final, which is wild. I can't believe we've read over 700,000 words in this little journey we've gone on. Oh my god, only 3 more for real. I will probably do 22 seconds at some point. I'm probably gonna take a break. 45 is the finale. 45 is not an epilogue, no. At least from what I can remember. There's kind of an epilogue-y section, but it's more in the supplementary stuff. Also, yeah, take a break. I probably will. I'll probably take like a couple weeks off. It'll depend on how things shape out in the summer. We will watch the Problem Animatic though, right? Absolutely. We will watch that on finale day. And I'll try to see if I can compile stuff, maybe like any additional fan art, anything that I can find. There's not a ton of fan art specifically for Alt Universe, but I'll see if I can dig through the fan art channel and the Undercord, and maybe we can find some things. Take a long break, points terrified 20 seconds. I won't wait that long. I'll probably, the thing is, I kind of want to wait till it's done, but I also don't know how long Unda's gonna make it. OMG, thanks for reminding me to see if 22 seconds updated since the last time I looked. Yeah, I haven't read it. I know it's been updating the past, 2 or 3 days? I haven't read it since then. I've been so busy with my YWDMP reread. I've gone through, like... I'm more than halfway through my YWDMP reread, because there's, 61 chapters in YWDMP so far, and I'm on chapter 32 or 33. I started my reread, a week ago? 2 weeks ago, maybe? I'm, blazing through it. It's just so good. Oh, I love YWDMP so much. Love YWDMP so much. If I had the ability and time... You've started rereading Setlist. The Setlist hasn't come into play just yet, because the thing that triggers the Setlist, or the start of the Setlist, I haven't gotten the first event yet. At least I don't think so. I need to reread it, but I can't do it during finals, or I screw myself over so bad. See, you're smarter than me. You are smarter than me. It is currently finals week for me, and yet here I am. I started reading MCE a bit ago, and I'm on chapter 6. Dave and Karkat are each not having a good time whatsoever. Yeah, oh my god, I love MC Escher. Early MC Escher is so painful, but so fucking good. Oh my goodness. They get there, don't worry. They'll be happy at some point. It just takes a little bit. I want to, but I shouldn't. Yeah. Jokes on you, I started reading it originally during finals. That's awesome. Oh, you guys want to know a fun little thing? So, I wonder, let me see if I can pull up the picture. So, a friend of mine, an IRL of mine, well, not an IRL, online friend, I don't know why I said IRL, because it's kind of relevant, but a friend of mine, sent me a package, was like, hey, can you remind me of your address again? So I sent it to them, and I was like, what? I didn't ask what it was for, but it's obvious when your online friend asks you you know, or when anybody asks you like, hey, what's your address? It's like, you're going to mail me something because you wouldn't there's no other reason for you to have this information. So I kind of forgot about it. And then suddenly I was like, I got a notice that it was like, hey, package in the mail. They sent me a charm. I got not all 3 of these, but I got the Dave charm on the left. This is from the Requiem Cafe. This is like the exclusive Requiem Cafe merch. And they surprised me. They went to the Requiem Cafe and like bought charms specifically for me and my friend Mel. Mel ended up getting the Jade one, and then my friend Merp kept the Kanaya one. And so now I have him. You can hear he's in my hand right now. He's so cute. I dropped on my desk. He is so cute, and he's a little guy, and he's my favorite. And supposedly, according to Merp, it was like the last Dave, because they went there because like, so the event started on 4/13, right? And 4/13 it was like an exclusive day. But they went on 4/14, and they were literally like having to dig through the boxes to find a Dave charm, and they just happened to come across like one of the last ones. So if they literally weren't there the very second day, I probably would not have gotten a Dave. So I'm very happy with my Dave. I'm very, very happy with him. He's so cute. Waiting for my shirt to ship. I am also waiting for my stuff to ship. I don't know when it will. There's probably a tracking thing I can look, but I got 2 shirts, a mug, and one of the Dave charms. So I'm waiting for those as well, because I want to walk around with my Homestuck merch and be free, because cringe culture does not exist, and I am free. So exciting stuff, but I'm very happy with my little guy, and I want to work more on some other charm designs, because if you've seen, I posted on Twitter a few of the charms I wanted to make, and I'm still working through a couple, because I have a bunch of designs I want to make for myself, and I'm still working through some. But this is kind of like, every time I get a charm, it motivates me. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get back to that. There was also, oh my god, there was another one that I saw on Etsy that I'm like really debating whether I want to read or whether I want to buy it or not. Where is it? Let me find it. Yeah. Look at this signless. Look at this signless one. Hold on. Is this gonna show my address or anything? No. If I show this page, I'll just do this. Hold on. Yeah. Look at the signless. Look at the signless. I literally love him so much. I really, really want this signless charm, because I've been reading YWDMP again, so I keep thinking about signless. He's like so cute. I finished DBDC. I'm very proud of myself. Well, I think I said hi. Hi, Rose, and that's super awesome. I think I spotted some of your live reading in the unda chord, which is super, super cool. How did you, what are your thoughts? Kind of wrapping up at the end, just general thoughts about DBDC and as a whole. Do you see the finished art? Did I? In the unda chord? I know there's been stuff getting posted in the fan art channel, but I haven't been peeking at it too much because I've been busy with stuff. You liked it? That's cool. I think I really like DBDC once you kind of include the whatchamacallit, the epilogue kind of section as a whole. It feels more complete, because I thought that when it kind of ends as a baseline, I need like a little bit more for the ending. Yeah, you get me, Rose. I think DBDC's ending is one of its weaker elements if you're excluding the epilogues, or excluding like the epilogue arc, quote unquote. But I think that the epilogue arc kind of helps like solidify things out. I'm also planning on doing a reading of David's villain rant and posting an audio clip of it at some point. Which of his many, doesn't he have quite a few villain rants? I'm trying to think of which one is the one. There's because I associate Hell's Coming, what's the song? Hell's Coming, what's the full title of the song? Yeah, so for Poor Man's Poison, I associate Hell's Coming with me, with Alternate Universe, and I think it's Feed the Machine, with specifically David and DBDC David. Like when he's like at his most villainy. That's like what I associate him with. I really wanted to do like a villain song animation to Feed the Machine. I love David. There's so much going on there, and he's not handling any of it well. Yeah. David is such an interesting character to me. Both in a negative way and a positive way. Kind of like how people look at Vriska and are like, yeah, she's awesome, she's a great character, but I fucking hate her. I feel the same way about David, or I feel very close. It's like an equivalent. On the other hand, I fucking adore Vriska in DBDC. Vriska is like one of my favorite characters in DBDC. Like, not even like controversially or like, you know, with like a but statement. I just fucking love Vriska. When the moment where Vriska is talking to Solux and compares Solux's like some of the stuff he's going through, and makes like an analogy to when they're using Dungeons and Dragons as like code words to talk about the stuff, and Vriska says that his what he's going through sounds more like a warlock than a wizard. Like his character sounds more like a warlock than a wizard. I was like, holy shit, I fucking adore you. Like, I adore this character. I adore Vriska. What's the name of the Spotify playlist again? Oh, I just looked up Poor Man's Poison, if you're referring to what we were just talking about, which is the name of the band. She's really well written in DBDC. She really is. She really, really is. Oh, whatchamacallit? There's like a specific term he uses. That's like some sort of term, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I know the one you're talking about, Rose. Okay, I'm going to, I've honestly kind of given up on the summaries a little bit. I think I just burnt out writing them. But I'll probably maybe retroactively write them, just so I can give it to my friend. But roughly where we were last chapter, because we should probably get started soon, is Dave is still stuck in hell. And now everybody's stuck in hell because hell has essentially been locked on lockdown. And Dave is also dead, or kind of dead. And Hal flew his body away after Hal got essentially separated from the devil, from Dirk, or from Cal, right? Because Hal was inside Cal. And so Solux and Karkat and the rest of the squad are all trying to find Dave, and they find Jake first, and essentially Jade uses some Fae shenanigans to kind of essentially force Jake to come along with them and to give them the information they need, as a way of essentially him repaying his debt to her for essentially abusing her while she grew up, or taking advantage of her. So Jake leads them to the labyrinth that they assume that leads to essentially like a vault that that the devil kept a bunch of like really ancient, special artifacts in, that they think that Dave might be hiding in. And so they just got to the labyrinth, and they're going to, in theory, Jake is going to lead them inside. And they're still kind of trying to hide from the devil. And yeah, but they also can't get out of hell because it's on lockdown for assumedly because Dave escaped. Dave got out. They're not sure where Dave, the devil at least doesn't know where Dave is. We know as viewers and as an audience that Dave is dead. But the devil doesn't know that, or Dirk doesn't know that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's roughly the summary. I don't think I missed any big details, and we're just gonna like hop right in. All right. Oh, Rose, I did see these. They are very, very cute. I did see these a while back. You drew the drives very, very well. All right, let's hop into the chapter. So today we're doing chapter 43. This is roughly 16K words. So probably another, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm going to take a little sip of water and we'll get started. Okay. The labyrinth sprawls out before you, vast, awe-inspiring, and definitely above your skill level. Which, to be clear, you mean the structure to keep you from that building and not the movie with David Bowie in weirdly sexual outfits. Both might apply, you guess, but you're only dealing with one right now, not the David Bowie one. Was that there when you were here before, Solux? Terezi asks as she and Jade eye Jake suspiciously. Not this complex, but yeah, I just followed him, Solux says. Its complexity varies, I know the way, so it doesn't worry me. Jake shrugs as if he doesn't care. Likely he doesn't. He doesn't actually want help, after all. And because we don't know the way, it's more difficult. I'm willing to bet that you could get stuck in here forever, too, you groan. Pretty much, Solux agrees. It would be designed to keep out people who don't already know the way. Even with Solux having been there before and Jake knowing the way, the rest of us skew the balance where our group doesn't know where we're going, so the spell tries harder to catch us, Roxy concludes. But there is a right way through it, though. Maybe... Rose hesitates, her hand halfway to her bag. What are you thinking? You ask. We didn't know where Dave was before, but if he's hiding in there, then we'd know if that chess piece pointed to him or not. He may still have it on him, shoved in a pocket or something, Rose says. That'd be a really lucky break, but it doesn't hurt to try. Rose pulls the chess piece out and holds it flat on her palm. It turns and sure enough points right into the labyrinth. For a moment, you wonder if Dave really does have it with him, or if it's that kind of magic bullshit again. Rose believes that it'll point to him if he has it. She knows where he is, so her god magic makes it point that way. Well, whatever. If it gets you through this thing, then you're willing to follow it. We should all stay together, holding on to each other. Labyrinths like this are tricky, and they'll split you if they can, Terezi warns you all. You group up, unfolding your wings so you can rest one on Rose's shoulders and let the other hang back. Solux grabs hold of your wing and links his other arm with Jade. One of his tails wraps loosely around Beck's neck, and the other Roxy holds onto. This goes on with your rather large group now, as you gather up like a kindergarten school trip in a line of twos. Rose focuses on the chess piece in her hand, and you feel some kind of power around you grow. Your arm, which is closest to Rose, starts to get warm as if it was being bathed in sunshine. You can feel your halo shift into visibility, and Rose steps forward into the labyrinth, leading you all with her. The walls of the labyrinth start to loom over you. Quickly, you glance over your shoulder, just to be sure that you're all still together while you can still see where you came in from. You don't want to leave anyone behind. Everyone's all here. You're okay. As your eyes pass over Jade, she gives you a tight smile, wanting to be nice, but a little too stressed to seem properly warm. You get that. Dealing with Jake can't be easy at all. Speaking of, he's keeping a very keen eye on Jade as you walk, and you don't like that. He starts to talk just as you look forward. Damn him. Why do you feel compelled to do this, Jade? Jake asks. Do what? Jade asks tightly. to force me to participate in this. Does it satisfy some need for vengeance? Tell me what you're thinking, my girl, Jake says, his voice pleasant despite his words. Jade stops still, which causes a ripple effect with everyone else as you have to stop walking lest you be separated. Don't call me that. Don't talk to me like we're family, especially since I can tell now that you're just asking for your stupid research, Jade says as evenly as she can, despite visibly shaking with anger. Stupid is right, Roxy mutters. What's that supposed to mean? Jake asks sharply, turning to look up at Roxy. Oh boy. Roxy scowls back at him, and you wince, glancing a chance at Rose. You pretty sure that there's nothing either of you can do to stop this. Maybe you shouldn't. Both of them have legitimate problems with Jake. Why shouldn't they air them out? You're on a deadline, sure, but they won't get this chance again. Everything you did with her is stupid, shit, and wrong, ethically and, research-wise. You did shitty things, and you didn't even gain anything for it, Roxy tells him. I gained plenty of information, useful information that we didn't have before, Jake retorts. No, you didn't. For a start, you shared that research with no one, meaning it didn't even benefit our knowledge as a whole, Roxy starts, sarcastically air-quoting around the word research. I wrote everything down, and besides, it's quite clear the direction that academia has gone since I've been away, Jake says dismissively, waving a hand in Roxy's direction. Roxy's jaw hangs slack in shock, and you watch as behind her, Terezi's skin ripples slightly as if her form is just barely holding, and fire slips between her teeth. The only reason you got tenure was because I did all the hard work for you before you fucked off to be an unethical elsewhere, and I could extricate myself. Without me, none of your papers would have made it past peer review. The things you proposed doing would never have flown, Roxy hisses at him. All that while he made you raise his kids, you mean? Jade asks, her voice flat and cold. My kids? How do you know about them? Jake asks with wide eyes turned on her. Because they took me in recently, because they were actually decent family, unlike you, Jade retorts, and she's right. Joey and Jude welcomed Jade with open arms, and you couldn't be happier for her about that. She deserves a good family because she's had shit luck with Jake. You stay away from my family, Jake orders her, stamping his iron boot. Like you did, Jade snaps back immediately. You're a terrible parent and a terrible researcher, Roxy says. You have no right to tell me about my research when you started your work talking to demons, inviting them into our plane. That wasn't experimentation. It was a survey of a species known to lie to humans for fun, he retorts. Oh, so you did read my research proposal. That'd be the first time you ever read paperwork. I was well aware of the limitations of my study, and my work actually made a difference. And get this, everyone who participated did so of their own free fucking will. I didn't harm anyone. I even paid some participants and got things in exchange. No one was tortured or exploited. I didn't have to illegally acquire an island for my work, and my work benefited people, Roxy shouts at him. What people? Jake laughs at her. Demons! Anyone who interacts with them. People used my work for all sorts of things and picked my methods apart for working with other species we regard as hostile to us. I did that. But no, you'd rather run off and play Indiana Jones, Mad Scientist Edition. You're just too stupid and cowardly to deal with things, she accuses him, and Jake is clearly offended at that. I got my island to do research that people were too afraid to do. I was brave, Jake insists. He really thinks he's the hero here, the bold researcher pushing past the limits of the establishment, someone to be lauded. If anything, people telling him he's wrong only reinforces that idea of himself, because surely no one else could stand seeing how bold and daring he is, working at the bleeding edge of research. No, you didn't. You got an island because you fucked the devil, and he pulled it out of the ocean so you could torture sentient species to make your own hell on earth. What were you even trying to study with her, huh? The psychological development of a changeling? Roxy demands, waving hand at Jade. I'm not even technically that, Jade says with a frown. Exactly. You didn't... Fuck me. Look, let's say you wanted to study the development of a changeling. The most ethical way to do that would be to find a family with a changeling child and get them to all to consent to that observation. Even that would be dubious because the child couldn't consent, and your very presence alters the dynamic with the parents, making it, at best, sketchy qualitative and anecdotal research. You didn't do that. You had the devil steal a child and murder the parents, which is several crimes at once, and needless to say, massively fucking unethical. Roxy is pacing now as she talks. So even then, fine, you have a child, except its primary caregiver, you've now contaminated the research beyond all measure. You can't be objective, and attempts to be objective are just going to end up traumatizing her. Not to mention, you stranded her on an island, a tropical island a tropical island, no less, which is so far out of her native habitat as a winter fae that you caused her harm and confused your research even more. Are phenomena you observe due to her being fae, to her being studied by you, or to her being socially isolated so strongly that she's just one step above a feral child? Who knows? Not you. You didn't learn shit, Jake. You just tortured a child because you hate the fae. That's it. Roxy shouts at him furiously. You wouldn't understand, Jake mutters and looks away from her. Yeah, just like no one can understand how the fuck the people who ran the Little Albert experiments thought they were doing anything even close to okay, or how the Stanford prison experiment was allowed, or Milgram's. You're a cautionary tale. That's the best outcome for you here, she says darkly. She and Jake stare at each other down, neither of them clearly intending on giving in, and even the demons in your group are just watching in silence. Admittedly, Sarava looks like they're kind of enjoying the drama, and given their history, probably hoping that Roxy might just maul Jake. You wouldn't blame her for that. Instead, Roxy takes a deep breath and calms herself a little. I have one more question for you. I was real careful not to attract Bro's attention. I put up all kinds of wards and asked questions very carefully to keep under his radar. But you were fucking him long before he showed his face to me, and I might have ended up pregnant, but I never fucked that asshole god. But you knew about my work. You knew me. You knew all that, and you were with him. You told him about me, didn't you? Roxy asks, cold and measured with each word. Rose's hands find your wrist and squeezes tightly. You don't want to intervene in this. Roxy's got to have been thinking about it for over 20 years now, and you're not going to rip this answer from her. I don't have to dignify that with an answer. I wasn't off plotting your demise, Roxy, honestly, Jake says with a shake of his head. Actually, Roxy let me stay in her house and fed me. She extended her hospitality to me, and I think I owe her a little something back for that. Dragging that answer from you as a slight payment to the debt you owe me seems fair, Jade says thoughtfully and narrows her eyes at Jake. Jake looks like he's about to gag. He holds a hand to his mouth as if he's physically trying to keep something alive from escaping, but it's no use. His lips part eventually, clearly not of his own free will, and he answers. I mentioned your work, offhandedly, told him the kind of magic you were capable of, he blurts out. Roxy draws in a breath, staring wide-eyed at her former mentor. She seems frozen, but you just catch her raising her hand, an empty lack of light where some magical glow should be, and isn't forming around her hand. Before anything can happen, Terezi wraps her arm around Rosie, pinning both her arms to the side. Hey, you knew this, but you need him right now. You've got a plan, remember? Stick to the plan, and soon his nerves will be flayed from his bones by the queens. He'll get his, but you need to use him now to get where you've got to go, yeah. Terezi reminds Roxy soothingly. The plan. Right. Roxy nods. She squeezes her eyes shut for a moment or two, and then opens them again, a little calmer. Terezi gives her a tight hug, and then lets her go once more. Roxy seems more whole now. Since this road trip started, it's like she's been healing a little. Or maybe she's just thinking about this mess for a long time, and she's clear on her thoughts about all this. Or maybe she's feared hell, the devil, and the end of the world for so long now that she's here, and she's the only one not off balance. He'll pay, but we still need to get to Dave, Rose says after several seconds of silence. You're right, Jade admits quietly. Jade's gaze is downturned, the scowl she's wearing directed at the floor rather than its rightful recipient of Jake. I don't know why I thought this would make me feel better, Jade adds miserably. You deserve better, you tell her, because it's true. It's also something you can relate to more than a little. You look at Roxy as well, because she deserved better than what she got. This all around sucks. I know, Jade nods. You glare at Jake, knowing full well that he's going to get what's coming to him from the other Jade, but that punishment doesn't undo all the hurt he did. Nothing can. Why did you do this? You made me think you were my grandpa, that you loved me. We ate meals together, watched movies together. Was all that some experiment to you, or what? Was none of it real? Jade asks Jake. Jake shifts a little under her stare, uncomfortable, but not answering her question either. Actually, forget it. I don't care why you did any of that, or what you really felt, because it ruined my childhood either way. Just take us to the vault so I can get rid of you, Jade says coldly, and holds up the doll she got from her grandma, compelling Jake to start walking again. Between Rose and Jake, the path through the maze doesn't technically take all that long, and you're able to see at certain points just how much labyrinthian bullshits you detoured around. You don't encounter statues asking you riddles or, thank fuck, men in tight leather pants doing contact juggling. It feels like a long and uncomfortable journey regardless, but you're pretty sure that it's just because of Jake being there. When the doors to the vault loom before you, there's a moment where you all stop to check the magic, keeping everyone out of sight, is still working. Once you're sure that it is, you all collectively shove Jake forward to unlock the door, as Solux watches him keenly. No doubt if he is able to try anything funny, Solux will know about it. Jake carves a glowing green symbol into the air before the door, matching it as the metal of the barrier changes, and presumably inputting the right things at the right time. It looks complex, but most magic does to you, so you're not really sure how in awe you're meant to be. But either way, you don't want Jake to get an ego boost from it, so you keep your reaction dampened anyway. The doors swing inwards without a sound, quite suddenly in fact. Given the size of the vault building and the clear weight of the doors, it almost feels like you've been cheated, that they don't make a dramatic and ominous creak as they open. Beyond the open doors, you can see a relatively dark space. Orange crystals glow out of bronze braziers that glow and shed light on the area around them. Roxy checks out the doorway and has to negotiate around a spell a bit, but she soon waves you inside. As you linger in the doorway, it becomes clear that this is very much a storage area turned personal museum. Items of all sorts are sorted and mounted on the walls, even in the entranceway, each with tiny handwritten plaques next to them. Whoa, this is... Rose whispers in awe. There's a lot of shit here. We need to be really careful we don't turn anything on. We don't know if Dave's alone. Zuluk says to all of you as quietly as he can. Don't just stand there, June hisses at you. She's got one hand on the door and is clearly trying to close it, but you're standing in the way. Shit, sorry, you apologize and step through the doorway into the building. Static builds inside you, running along the inside of your skin. It's halfway between an itch everywhere and whatever the whole body equivalent of a sneeze would be. You stumble to a stop and freeze, trying to contain whatever this is and stay goddamn quiet. Carcat? Jade calls out in quiet alarm. You try to say something, but your tongue won't work right. It's like it's not real somehow. As you think that, it occurs to you that your tongue isn't really real, is it? The itching static feeling running through your body numbs your tongue to the point where you're not sure if it's there anymore. You try to force words out, but it's just a hiss of static. What's that above the door? I smell something lighting up with magic. Trezzy hisses, pointing to the wall above the doorway you just went through. Oh, no, shit, KK, keep it together, Solux cuts off, clearly startled, as his hands clip through your arm slightly when he goes to grab hold of you. You turn your head, feeling it crack like a shattered vase as you do so. You look down and see reddish gold light leaking out in cracks in your body that are shaped like Solux's hands. It's a trap for angels, Solux whispers in horror, looking above your head to whatever's on the wall. Beams of light are shining out through the cracks in your body, illuminating the walls here and there. Hold it together, can't we get him away from it? June asks. She tries to nudge you forwards, even as Rose and Hermov are quickly talking about counterspells and wards, but June clearly isn't waiting for that. Her hand slices through your back at a mere touch, and you shudder all over. More and more parts of your frozen form chip off and crumble into light. You're too unstable, too damaged and taken apart. You can't hold it anymore, and with a snap that feels 1,000 times more blissful than any sneeze, your form changes. Your wings open around your rings, and you can finally move again. Your vision extends in every direction, so you can perfectly well see the door suddenly slam shut behind you, and you see the wing-eyed charm on the wall abruptly and open up and start shrieking in alarm. So much for subtle, Jade shouts over the noise. We should still be hidden, come on, Roxy yells and pulls Rose and Trezzy along with her. Solux puts his hands in you, grabs one of your rings and yanks you along with him as everyone else runs to follow. Hey, get your hands out of me! Shut up! What else was I meant to grab, you bitch, when I pull your feathers? Solux retorts sharply. You all huddle in the stairway that the entrance area led to. You're out of the way of anyone that might come down the stairs to investigate the ceaselessly shrieking alarm. You're not sure that you'll go unnoticed, though. Dude, you're kind of big right now. Can't you go back to human shape? June asks, squished against the wall to avoid your wings. You try, but even trying to make your normal form feels like you're being shocked. I can't! It's stopping me, I'm stuck. Can't we turn that off somehow? Rose asks over the noise. Even if we're invisible, it's suddenly going off and then going quiet will for sure tell anyone who's here that we're... Roxy trails off, and movement at the corner of your vision tells you why. Fear floods you as you watch in silent terror as Bro, the ruler of hell, the devil himself, descends the steps behind you. Hours in the past, not an awful lot, but enough for it to, feel like ages, hours in the past, deep in the depths of hell. You watch as a somewhat panicked, angelic, not Dirk, shoves your bloodied corpse into a rocky crack in the wall and squeezes in after it. You glide in through the rock with ease and see your body has not taken the landing well and is crumbled awkwardly half on the ground and caught on a jagged rocky wall. Not exactly a dignified post-death experience. Meanwhile, your now wingless angelic companion is peering out of the gap in the rock with a tense kind of paranoia written all over him. So, what's the plan? You ask him, knowing full well he can't hear you. The guy, you wish you knew his actual name and weren't just going to call him, what did I say? Dirk Sendent? Yeah, Dirk Sendent in your head, finally turns around and looks at you. Well, looks at your body. There's not much space in this crevice in the rock, so he holds a hand out and magically carves a bigger cavern inside. With that done, he gently takes hold of your body and settles it on the floor. You watch as he presses his head to your chest and listens. Still super dead, dude. Not all the way, but enough, you comment. He pulls his head up, evidently having come to the same conclusion, and reaches for your neck. You think at first he's going to feel for your pulse, but no. He presses one finger to one side of the slit in your neck, and one to the other, and kind of pinches them together like he's trying to encourage it to heal. Figuring that it's worth a try, you reach down and wave your ghostly hand through your body's neck, but nothing happens. A sound rips through the air and right through you. A roar, not an animal, but not quite human either. It's full of rage, and you and Dirk Sendent both flinch. Fuck! No. He hisses and hurries to the opening of the crack again. Of course, you follow him and look outside as well. A huge red storm is swirling over the tower, and you can see Bro, who's maybe double or triple his usual giant size, up there visibly seething with anger. Dirk Sendent curses again and scurries back to your body. He crouches down over you and flicks his wings out once more. You watch as he reaches over and plucks a long white feather out and starts to write on your body with it. He writes words and symbols in bright red that are in a language that you don't recognize. You do, however, know magic spells when you see them. He litters your limbs and torsos with them, writes small charms on your face, and closes your eyes to draw symbols on your eyelids. When you're practically covered with magical writing, he places his hands on your skin and activates the spell, making them flare and red for a moment. Can't stay here, he whispers to your body, and delicately scoops you up. You have no choice but to follow him as he shuffles out of the crack in the rock with your body in his arms, and then takes to the sky once more. It takes a little practice to fly with him and not end up left behind, only to blip out of existence and come next to your body again. You've about cracked it when Dirk Sendent lands with you near the edge of hell. He looks around uneasily and starts walking to the edge of a pit set into the ground. Ominous fog flows thickly within it, and you remember enough to know that you can get lost in there pretty easily. He's trying to use it to hide, and you'd better be careful to stay close to him or you might get lost as well. Perhaps that wouldn't work with you needing to stay by your body, but you're not risking it. You stick close to him as he carries your body through the fog, and you follow him as he walks for a bit before deciding to put you down once more. The pair of you are surrounded by thick fog that flows through your ghostly form. He adjusts your body on the ground so you're laying there comfortably and not just looking like he dropped you in place. There's a certain care to it that's so not anything Bro would have done. Whoever the Dirk Sendent really is, it's pretty clear to you that he's not Bro, and he sees you as more than just something he needs. He's treating your corpse with respect, rather than hefting it about like some item that he needs for a later scheme or something. Dirk Sendent sits down next to your body and frowns. He looks over and moves his hand to your side where the rib you gave Solux once resided. Can't get that back, but... He trails off and frowns. Once more he peers at your neck and tries to press the separated sides together, but of course it does nothing. It's not gonna work, man, you tell him, but still he can't hear you. Dirk Sendent sits back up on the ground and crosses his legs under him as he thinks for a moment. He looks hesitant, but then shrugs. He takes a deep breath and looks up into the white fog above your heads. He fans at his face a little, and you watch in bafflement as he digs his teeth into his lip. He's just a kid. He didn't deserve to go like that. He got you out, and you can't thank him. Dirksendant whispers to himself and blinks quickly. His mom's never going to see his body, he adds, and his breath shudders a little bit. You squint at him. Is he trying to make himself cry? He's breathing a little quicker now, like he's trying to work himself up to it. All he had was him and Cal, and it was so much worse than what you did. You did that to him. His voice has a waver to it now, and he looks like he's getting a little choked up. And Solix is dead, and he had to see that. Solix had to know what was going to happen and couldn't do anything about it. He goes on, "Shit, you feel like you're going to cry now." Tears well up in Dirksendant's eyes, and quick as anything, he drags a finger over the waterline of one red eye and holds his hand out. The drop of moisture on his finger glitters slightly in the light, and he moves over your body. "Don't catch fire," he whispers, and rubs it along the cut on your neck. Your body doesn't sizzle or catch fire, which you're going to put down to all the human in your body. It makes sense, though. Karkat was an angel for the same god as Dirksendant seems to be, and you've had contact with a lot of Karkat's fluids and came to no harm. You've got his blood on you. You've definitely swap spit. You've boned, so there's that. And actually, he's got tears on you before. He got a little over emotional one time after you had sex and teared up a little at how happy he was to be with you, and you'd wipe them away as you teased him a little for it. You didn't catch fire, or not physically at least. You think your heart might have, because damn if your boyfriend isn't the sweetest guy you've ever met. Your body doesn't catch fire, but neither does it heal. It was a good try, though. Thanks. Anyway, I guess. I think I just need Solux back, though. Can you at least get me to him? You ask. The Dirksendant just sighs and frowns again. He pauses to scrub his eyes and sniff a little before going back to plotting. "Listen," you say, and crouch down by him on the other side of your body. "I'm just going to think really, really hard about Solux in the hope that you pick up what I'm putting down here. Solux. Solux." You watch as Dirksendant crosses his legs, sighs, presses hands together. He's praying. "I don't know who's in charge up there now, since my maker's dead, or Dirk's maker, but I'm still an angel, and I need a miracle here. Dave needs to be alive again, and I know you people aren't exactly fighting the end of the world. Help me out," he says. You look at your dead body and wave a hand through it. "Yep, it's still dead." "Man, I'm apparently the Antichrist. Did you really think that was going to help?" you ask. You catch him muttering something about, "Why start now?" So you figure even he thought that was a long shot. He plucks another feather out and starts drawing a circle around you in red light again. "Solux! Solux!" you say loudly to no avail. Dirksendant draws out a double wiggly line symbol that you know you've seen on June since you found out what she was, but he hesitates and scrubs it out without activating whatever spell he's writing. Instead, he writes down a different symbol, one you recognize as Horus's symbol. He's trying to resurrect you through gods of wholly different pantheons. Dirksendant works through several spells and gods to try to get you back to life, but nothing is working. Either he can't get a magical signal down here or no one is interested in helping you. You still shout Solux's name at him every time, but you're blatantly getting nowhere. Being mostly dead sucks. Both of you jump when an ear-splitting sound comes from above. Well, you and the Dirksendant do, but your body remains stationary. You uncover your ears. You suppose you protected them out of instinct, but it's not like you have physical eardrums to rupture right now. The Dirksendant is looking upwards and then slowly closes his eyes and sighs like a man who's not only not going to say, "At least it couldn't get worse," because that'd just be tempting fate. "No one in or out, but..." He trails off and leans over your body. He scrubs out magical symbols here and there and replaces them. Reading them makes you freeze. You know the signs for death and the telltale signs of necromancy. It's not that you're afraid of anything. You were talking to Death herself earlier, weren't you? You're not afraid for you, but you might be for him. The Dirksendant activates the spell, and both of you are alarmed to see Aradia step out of the fog, like she'd just always been out of sight. "Oh, shit, it actually worked," he says under his breath. "You've been calling a lot of people. You can't be surprised that they don't want to get involved with this, can you?" Aradia asks, waving at your body. "I guess not." the Dirksenden says somewhat bitterly. His gaze shifts from your bloodied corpse to Aradia once more. I have a favor to ask. A bargain, really. I'm willing to trade anything that's mine to give that isn't him. I need you to bring Dave back from the dead, the Dirksenden asks her. You catch the way Aradia's eyes flicker at you for just a moment before resting on your corpse. You can't do that, can you? You ask her. No, I can't do that. Aradia answers you, but it's close enough to what the Dirksenden was asking that he thinks she's talking to him. Yeah, that was a long shot. Then could you do something else instead? Or have one of your psychopomps do it? I don't think they can get through that, but clearly you can, he goes on, pointing upwards to where the noise came from. What are you asking of me? Aradia questions him, her gaze intensely locked to his. If you can't or won't bring him back, then can you take his body to Earth? To his mother? We couldn't ever find... He was never able to get Cal to find her again after Dave was born. No one hides from you, though. Could you take him back to her? His life sucked here, and she lost her only child, and the least they both deserve is to be reunited afterwards. I'd rather her bury him than see whatever he'd do to Dave's corpse. Please? The Dirksenden asks softly. He's nothing like Bro. Nothing at all. And the idea that he had anything to do with that creepy puppet monster he was trapped in is laughable. He wants to give your body back to your mom so she can bury it with respect, for her sake and yours. That's very sweet, but I don't think Dave would like that. He can't go far from his body right now. Besides, it means Solux would have to dig him up, and that'd be traumatizing for both of them. Aradia says lightly. Yeah, please don't do that. You agree? No, Solux is dead. His rib was ripped out. He died. The rib was destroyed. He has to be dead, right? The Dirksenden says, but he sounds uncertain. Most likely because he's arguing with Death herself about how alive Solux is. That's all true, but there was an angelic effort to change that. Aradia grins wide, leaning over your body to get in Dirksenden's space. Her smile is a little unsettling, to say the least. She seems happy, but in the sort of way where a picture of her like this might appear in an article about someone who skinned people and made their skin into a people suit. The angel who was with them when he killed Solux and took Dave back? The one that got possessed? No, look, I'll buy that angels got amnesia if they were stuck down on Earth during that spell, and I'll even accept that maybe one got some kind of feeling. There are some rogue angels, but he went back to heaven. If they didn't just kick him out for stepping out of the line that much, then he's way too tied up in punishment and would have lost way too much status to bring any kind of resurrection onto a demon-aligned familiar of the Antichrist. No one else up there would help. Bullshit. The Dirksenden sneers, his disdain for heaven clear. Oh, that's the one. He knew him from before the spell, too. The Dirksenden stares at Death, his eyes narrow in suspicion and annoyance, but Aradia isn't backing down. No way. We were always watching him on Earth, he says finally. Always? Aradia drags the word out teasingly. Yes. Well, near enough. Almost every day. The odds of some angel knowing how to avoid Cal would be astronomical. You'd have to be... He starts. Psychic? Aradia cuts in and winks at you. God damn, Rose, you genius, you laugh. How much unexplained shit about your life are you going to have to put down to your god powers or hers? Even then, that's beyond the remit of mortal physics, and heaven couldn't or wouldn't do that either, the Dirksenden argues. Either way, his spirit is still here, has been the whole time. He's right there, Aradia says, pointing at you. The Dirksenden looks at you, or a little to your left, but it's close, and he's trying to see you. Can you hear me? You ask hopefully, but from the lack of reaction you assume no. He's really there? The Dirksenden asks warily. Maybe he thinks that Aradia is messing with him. You'd certainly understand that concern. Oh yes, he can hear you too. But if you'll excuse me, I've got to get going. People dying, end of the world, you know how it is. Bye! Aradia vanishes in a flash of black smoke, leaving behind the impression of a smile in the air for several seconds after she's gone. The Dirksenden blinks a couple times and returns his gaze to the space Aradia gestured to. It's not quite where you are, but you can step over so he's making eye contact with you. I didn't know you were still around, he says quietly. It's been kind of a surprise to me too, you agree. He can't hear you, but still. There's no amount of apologizing that can make up for everything I had part in putting you through, and any explanation just sounds like a shit excuse, the Dirksenden says, his gaze flickering to the ground. His wings flutter into existence just to curl tight to his body, a gesture that you know is one of insecurity and self-comfort. You've seen it on Carcat before he learned to put his wings away, and you weren't a fan of it then either. It sounds like it sucked for you begin, but because he can't hear you, he talks over you. I'm going to fix this. If your spirit is here and your familiar is somehow still even partly alive, then I can bring you back. I don't know how I'm going to get you out of hell after that, but one giant problem at a time, he says. I need Solux, right? You say. I don't know how to summon Solux if he's partly alive, and if he doesn't have the rib, not without the rest of him on hand, and if I had that, I would need to... I could repossess you somehow, maybe, or drag him closer. He's clearly thinking out loud, but trails off into thoughtful silence. I'm gonna take you to the vault. There's all sorts of magical shit there that we've stolen over the years. There's gotta be something there that'll either help or I can exploit to my advantage. I'd ask if you're okay with that, but... He grimaces a little. But I'm almost completely dead, and you can't hear me. You finish. He scoops your body up with care and takes to the sky. Well, what passes for sky in hell. He holds you close to his chest as he flies with you, and you're tugged along with him as he moves with your body. I'm sorry about having to carry you so much. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want me touching you, the Dirksenden says uneasily. Well, I didn't have any feelings about it now, or until now, and now I feel weird, you inform no one. Since when I was in Cal, it wasn't like I or it ever interacted with you without trying to hurt you or terrorize you in some way. He says, clearly guilty. You kind of want to say that it's fine because you barely remember any of it. What with you giving yourself the magical equivalent of massive brain damage to pay for the spell that trapped all the gods away and dismantled Cal. That's probably not an endorsement, though. Like, hey, you and the familiar you were stuck inside of made my life so shit that I willingly obliterated all my memories without a second thought. Not exactly good, is it? I didn't want to hurt you. Not really. I wanted to make you stronger sometimes. All I ever got before was training and angels keeping tabs on my progress. It sucked seeing you get your shit wrecked all the time. I was always having to fight people for my training, but it wasn't like yours. He goes on. Heaven doesn't have a great track record with treating angels well as far as you're concerned, so you're dubious that his training wasn't great either. I wanted to stop him winning against you all the time, but maybe Cal used that. I know all my training got used. Every stance and skill I have got used on... He falters. Used on you. Yeah, no wonder you couldn't win. Not only were you fighting a literal god, you were fighting his familiar that had a shitload of you guess, magically important ingredients in it, and a whole person who was basically raised as an angel assassin ninja. You had no hope. I'm not apologizing. I don't have a right to ask for that, but I'm just saying that if you're horrified by me carrying you around because of everything that happened, I get that. And if there was another way, I'd do that. This, at least, I think I can say sorry for. I think? He seems uncertain. It's fine, man. You're just trying to get me back to life, or back with Solux, you tell him. Of course, he can't hear you, so he doesn't feel any better. The two of you start to come close to a building in the distance. It seems to be in the ass end of nowhere based on what you've been flying over, but that's fine by you. He flutters down to the ground in a graceful swoop of white feathers and starts opening the pretty complicated-looking magical lock. You've seen how your mom secures things, and this is even trickier than her stuff, so that's saying something. I'm going to need to put you on the ground first. I might need to turn something off, the Dirksen warns you. Glad to know you're not just dropping me on the ground like a pair of muddy boots or whatever. You shrug. The doors open and you step inside. True to his word, the Dirksenden sets you down and flies up to what looks like a shitload of magical junk above the door. He wakes for a few moments and looks at it curiously. Huh. Well, this might go off, but I guess it's tied to me as an exception still, even though I'm not Cal anymore. Never mind then. The Dirksenden drifts back down to the ground and closes the door. You watch him silently as he looks around with a thoughtful frown on his face. I think, he says slowly, that I'm going to try things to heal you first. Maybe if I can get you alive enough to make a connection to your familiar, I can summon him outright. If he's died and lost his rib, I'm pretty sure his magical signature will be totally skewed. He explains. That makes sense to you. The Dirksenden scoops you back up and carries you up the stairs, and then past the floor to another. Armor's not going to do you any good. You're a little past that, he murmurs as he carries you past a few things. Just rub that in, you mutter, and watch him lean against a plinth that's holding up a floating helmet in glass. You watch as the Dirksenden walks across the room and plucks something from a wall. As he comes back, you see it's one of those leaf headband hat god thingies. Fuck, Rose must have taken all of your words. What are those things called? This is a laurel wreath. Not sure which god this one's from, but it's meant to be a symbol of immortality. We've got a few, and I'm hoping that maybe it might have some transitive properties here, he explains. Right, laurel wreath, that was what it was called. Not knowledge you have to call on a lot, but there you go. You're not surprised that it does jack shit for you when you put it on your head. If it's a sign of basically immortal gods, then you already were one of those. You just messed that up by using that sword and getting killed for real too soon after. With a sigh, the Dirksenden takes it off and goes looking for something else. He comes back with some club that can supposedly bring you back to life, but all it does is make your body twitch slightly, and the Dirksenden has to spend a while making sure you're not coming back. Your guess would be that it's just bringing bits of you back to life and setting off minor motor reflexes, something like that. Each item he brings to you either has no effect or the wrong kind of effect, and it's clear from his body language that Dirksenden is losing hope here. Okay, let's try this another way. Let's try contacting Solux, though how I'm going to do that with this whole plane lockdown, I don't know. Come on, the Dirksenden says, and carefully picks your body up. You go back down another set of stairs so you can see the front door that you came in through. You don't have time to linger, though, as the Dirksenden is walking into the room with your body in hand. He doesn't go all that far, so you can stay out in the hallway, but why would you? Here, now you're not on the floor at least, the Dirksenden says as he gently places you in the open arms of a statue. You're not sure who the statue that's holding your body is meant to be. Some goddess, maybe? She's hot, you guess, but statues are kind of meant to be flattering, right? So that's not really helpful. Because of how your body is laying in her arms, with your head tipped back, your body's eyes have slid open. You guess your corpse is just gonna stare at this statue lady for a while. Whatever, have fun, body. With your hands in your ghostly pockets, you follow the Dirksenden around as best you can. You're limited with the range on your body, of course. He's still picking things up and muttering about the lack of sensible categories for storing things, and occasionally he'll try something, but again, nothing is working. He wanders over to you and runs a hand through your hair a few times, until a few loose hairs end up on his hand. I'm hoping this will be good enough for a physical component. I really don't want to have to try and take bones out of you, the Dirksenden says apologetically. Please, don't mutilate my body. I'd like to use it again sometime soon, you squeak in alarm, knowing full well that if he decides to do that, you can't stop him. A sudden bang, and a shrill screaming startles you right out of your skin, or it would if you were still in your skin. The Dirksenden jumps as well, and looks totally panicked at the sound. Shit! I'm sorry about this, he hisses at you and straightens up. Instinctively, you step back as his body shifts. All those little details that you hadn't been able to place that made him seem younger and different to Bro melt away as he gets taller and entirely indistinguishable from the man. He strides out to the hallway, and you hurry after him. Whatever is screaming is somewhere above the door based on the direction of the ear-splitting noise, but it's not that which has your focus. What you're looking at is the weird bright light from the edge of the staircase. As the Dirksenden in Bro's skin goes down the stairs, you instead lean over and look directly down. The source of the light is immediately obvious. It's an angel. A throne, one that looks just like Karkat, if a bit glassier? You've not seen Karkat enough in that form to be sure it's him. You've never seen another throne after all, and he's not human-shaped, so as far as you know, they're all more or less the same. That seems specious, but it's true. But you're going to assume that it is Karkat because right there with him are Solux and June. On the other side of them against the wall is Rose and Jade, and then despite all logic, your mom is there too. Somehow Matuna is there, along with Kanai, and Terezi is even there with some weird, short, old dude. You're drawing a blank there. There's also a demon that you don't know, but since everyone seems fine with whoever that is, you're gonna guess they're cool. Look, Solux is here, you shout, not that he can hear you. Solux! You shout again, and jump down to where everyone is huddled up. You land right in front of Solux, whose eyes are weirdly wrong, not blue and red, but black and white. Maybe he's blind or something because he looks right through you. But no, you can see that he's tracking the Dirksendent's every move as he goes down the stairs and then floats up to the thing above the door that's screaming. Hey, I'm right here, you say, waving your hand in front of his face, but nothing happens. The Dirksen drifts back to the floor with the weird eye-shaped thing in his hand and starts poking at its magical code. I didn't just walk in. Off, he mutters at it. He jabs at it, and the thing falls silent for a second and then starts up right away. Oh shit, that feels even worse in this form. Shh, stay still, June whispers. How are you not seeing them? You ask pointlessly. The Dirkscendant pulls at the code again and shakes his head. Tell me who you see, he commands, the eye charm scream thing in his hand, in a tone that feels magically weighty. He gives it a little shake and it stops screaming to speak. Created through calculation, grown in isolation and cold training, the fallen and shattered, a splinter of the uncaring that bleeds, loyal to neither heaven nor hell and exists through bonds. The charm intones, and a strangely strangled tone comes from Karkat's direction. Is that Karkat's name? It's gotta be, right? There's an odd expression on the Dirkscendant's face that you can see from the angle you're looking at. A mildly perplexed and slightly called out expression, like when you get a fortune cookie and it's clearly just relatively generic thing, but the way it's said feels like someone is coming for you specifically. He seems to shake it off and writes out a quick line of magical code in the air, and then inserts it into the charm zone spell work. At once the noise shuts off, and you can't help but sigh in relief. There's a glassy flutter from Karkat's direction, so you think he feels just as relieved as you do, maybe more. The Dirkscendant frowns a little at the charm as he replaces it, and then turns around slowly, narrowing his now shade-covered eyes at everything he passes. Technically, you can't see his eyes, but you guess for some reason your brain is attuned to picking out these minor tells that are probably preludes to you getting the shit kicked out of you. Solux has been looking afraid and pissed off the whole time, and the Dirkscendant has been in sight and looking like bro. When he draws his sword out of his chest though Solux's reaction gets even stronger. He shoves everyone else behind him, making Karkat stumble as he turns back to his normal shape. June has put herself in the front as well, like her and Solux have nominated themselves as a defensive line. It's not him, you say helplessly and watch as Rose winces. Your mom is holding onto her so tight that her fingernails are digging into Rose's arms. Unable to hear you, and seemingly unable to see the rest of your group, the Dirkscendant looks slowly around the area, trying to pick out anything amiss. He looks up at the thing above the door again and hesitates. Quicker than you can see, he darts past you up the stairs. If you crane your neck, you can see that he's checking your body is still there in the statue's arms. Seemingly satisfied, he comes down to the stairs again, holding his free hand out and muttering under his breath. Tracking spell, that's going to be... Your mom gasps and cuts herself off as she clutches Rose even tighter. Our spell's gonna negate it, right? Right? Karkat asks. I don't know, Solux whispers. The Dirkscendant snaps his fingers and the spell flares into life. The formerly screaming charm above the door glows softly, but more interestingly are the footprints on the floor. There's a red set that paces about, and more red steps generate from the bottom of Dirkscendant's feet as he goes down the stairs. He's interested in the gold glowing set. The footprints go away a few steps in and then devolve into a kind of wide airbrushed haze on the floor that drags all the way around the hollow of the stairwell to where Karkat and the others are hidden. Oh no, Karkat breathes. He steps back, making more golden footsteps. Oh dear, how terrible, the short man with the hat comments as insincerely as possible, making Jade scowl at him. The Dirkscendant follows the trail, weapon drawn, and though he's staring right through everyone else, he's looking in exactly the right area, and you're frozen with fear at the mere thought of what his sword could do. It doesn't matter if he can see them or not. He can still hurt them, right? Fuck this, Jade hisses. She grabs the stranger's wrist and yanks some bracelet off of it, and at the same time kicks him in the chest away from their group. He tumbles backward, and the Dirkscendant startles to see him, which he evidently can now. Jake? He asks, clearly lost. Love, yes. You need to ask me why I'm here, the old man insists. What? The Dirkscendant says flatly. Ask me, he says again desperately. The Dirkscendant sheathes his sword and fixes the stranger a bored look. He's a stranger to you, at least, but didn't the Dirkscendant just say his name? They clearly know each other, or Bro knows him. You shouldn't be here. Go back to your experiments, the Dirkscendant tells him coldly. The man reacts to that, that's for sure. He's startled at the response, presumably by the lack of feeling in it. What's more is how totally lost Solux looks. What's going on? Solix mutters, looking between them. They're not usually like this. June checks, and Solix shakes his head. I know you're... Sorry, there's somebody screaming outside. I know you're busy. Things are going wrong. I know you're busy. Things are going wrong, but this is important, darling, the short guy says urgently. He's trying to rat us out. I should just... Jade starts, raising a knife and a doll in her hand. You don't think that would raise questions? Karkat hisses at her. What happened earlier? He asks the Dirkscendant with a significant look on his face. Earlier? The Dirkscendant says back, unsure and defensive about it. Earlier, he confirms. The Dirkscendant looks up at the charm over the door, the one that has been screaming about Karkat. You only assume Karkat was what set that thing off, anyway. He looks back at the old dude slowly. The alarm went off? The Dirkscendant says slowly. Yes, it did. The old guy nods, being weirdly insistent about it. But it's off now, so the Dirkscendant says, trying to be casual about it. Shit, he's an angel too. Did he think that somehow he set it off, and that was his name? If he's not properly been an angel since he broke away from Dirk, using that stupid sword, then maybe he'd have a new name and not know it? So if he's trying to play off what he thinks is this guy's suspicious questions as nothing... He's going to rat us out. I'm stopping him, Jade insists, and you turn just in time to see her plunge a knife into the doll in her hand. The old man doubles over, and the doll that was in Jade's hand flies out of her grip and hits him in the side. What happens is... You saw that Alien movie one time. A few of them, actually, and you can't remember which one it is that you're thinking of. Long story short, at some point one of the aliens gets shoved up against a window that's got a bullet hole in it. It's all low pressure outside, so with physics being a bitch, and all the things get sucked out through the dime-sized hole. It's shot in a way that it's not as horrifying as it could be, given that the thing kind of bursts on the backside and gets sucked throughout bit by bit, alive and screaming, and its alien noises the whole time. It's way more horrifying when it's happened to something humanoid that speaks your language, as this old guy is magically dismantled and dragged into a floating doll, screaming out that he doesn't want to go, that it hurts, begging for help. There's nothing you can do. You're a ghost. The Dirkscendant is stock still, in probably shock or horror if he's anything like you, and the rest of your friends are staring. No one moves, and when the doll hits the floor after what feels like an eternity, you're still stuck in horror. The Dirkscendant laughs, a startled kind of thing that makes you stare at him. A wide grin spreads across his face and he bends down to pick up the doll. Oh no, now you're stuck in a doll. How wonderfully ironic for you, he says, all faux sweet. You weren't the one who had to deal with those dolls you left behind. Do you still feel pain in this? He asks and squeezes the doll in his hand. It emits a tiny, shrill shriek. What the fuck? That's not... He's obsessed with Jake. He wouldn't do this, Solix insists, staring at as the Dirkscendant twists the doll a little, making it cry out. A rip appears in the air, blue and white. As it widens in the air, you see snow falling out onto the stone floor below. The Dirkscendant leans down a little to see through it and then smiles very slowly. Winter, he whispers. You can't hear every word the doll is saying. It's too small and shrill, but you get the gist. It's begging not to go. I think you owe the Fae a lot after the shit you two pulled, and I'm not sticking my neck out for you. See you never, he hisses, and whips the doll through the portal, which snaps shut after him. The Dirkscendant looks thoughtful for a moment, and then shifts back to his normal appearance. That's going to hurt him. Good, he snorts, and heads up the stairs towards you. It isn't him. That's Dirk. That's the Dirk I knew before hell, June insists. June, what are you... Karkat yelps as June rushes around the corner and up the stairs without the others. You could already see June, but she somehow becomes more visible and throws herself at the Dirkscendant, who yelps in alarm. Dirk, it's you! June cries out as she squeezes the Dirkscendant as tight as can be. She even physically lifts him off the floor, and even though he tries to get free and even gets his wings out, there's no breaking June's grip. June, I can't... The Dirkscendant chokes out. Oh, shit, sorry, June exclaims and drops him, where he falls to the ground in a flutter of feathers. He coughs for a moment and then looks up at June in total shock. What are you doing here? Did you set off the alarm? He asks, clearly lost. Nah, that was Karkat, my angel friend. The other angel, I mean. June beams. Thanks for that, Karkat snaps at her. It's as if the brightness on the rest of them is flickering up and down, and when Karkat seems to relax, you think they're all visible now. Not that everyone has come up from under the stairway. The unknown demon and Matuna are staying back with Kanaya, and your mom is lingering at the bottom of the stairs with Rose. Solix follows up the stairs and walks right through you as the Dirksenden gets to his feet. You hurry to keep up with Solix, though you know it's pointless to keep talking to him. You still try, calling out his name with every step you take. Karkat is slightly ahead of him, standing with his weapon drawn as he stares warily at the Dirksenden. "You're the angel from the carnival," the Dirksenden says, looking past June to Karkat. June says, "You're not the guy who skewered me on a ride there, that you're someone else," Karkat says suspiciously. Solix, you're here, the Dirksenden says in a hurry, noticing Solix getting to the top of the stairs. "Where's Dave? Where is he?" Solix hisses at him, his lips drawn in a snarl that shows off all the very sharp teeth he has. "I can explain about that," the Dirksenden falters and takes a step back, but Solix comes closer. Between them is an open doorway to the room your body is in, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're stuck in place as Solix advances, demanding to know where you are, and when he gets to the doorway, you can't do anything to stop it. "I'm okay," you say softly, but it's no use. Solix stops in his tracks, and his head turns as he looks into the room. He sees your dead body held in the statue's arms, your lifeless eyes still open and staring up at her like she's going to be any help. Solix's mouth softens from a snarl to a slack expression of horror. His eyes are wide, and it hurts you just to see him. Solix screams, and it rips right through you. He sprints through your ghost and into the room. He's howling fragmented pleas for you to be okay, to not be dead as you look. He pulls your body from the statue and falls to the ground with you. Karkat is close enough behind him that you can see the pain in his eyes. He hesitates, a few steps into the doorway like he's not sure what to do. Of course, all your friends are here, and worse, your sister and your mom. Each new person that runs in the room and finds you dead hurts more and more. Your mom hurts the most. Rose and Karkat are kneeling near you, with Karkat holding her in shock, but your mom, she's shaking you and trying to wake you up, but that's never going to work. Solix has to eventually smack her hand away as he moves protectively over your body, one knee on either side of you. "Let me try to fix him. I have to," Solix starts. "With what magic? You're so drained. Can I loan you some?" Or Karkat offers immediately. "Just shut up, let me focus," Solix mutters. "I'm sorry," you apologize even though no one can hear you. You crouch down between your mom and your sister and watch as Solix leans over you. "Nothing I tried worked. Death said his ghost is still here. Solix being alive must be why, but I couldn't do anything," the Dirksenden says quietly to June. "What happened?" June asks. "Shut up!" Solix snaps at them, and sure enough everyone falls silent. You're kind of glad that you can't feel your body right now, because you're pretty sure your heart would be breaking as you watch Solix lean over your corpse. He ghosts his fingers over the now slightly crusted slash through your neck, all while your body stares sightlessly up at the ceiling. "Come on, please," Solix whispers. He's desperately trying to heal you, but it's not working any better than it did when the Dirksenden tried it, and with each pass of his shaking fingers, he gets more and more tearful as he tries. Reaching out, you try to hold his hand, but again, it passes through him. You can't touch Solix, you can't make him feel better, and you can't seem to come back to life. Looking at your body, you feel sick at the memory of being trapped in it before Aradia pulled you out. But maybe you need to be in there for Solix to connect enough to heal you. If there's a chance, you have to do it, right? And if it doesn't work, then Solix the Dirksenden may well summon Aradia again to ask her what to do, and she could get you out, right? It's a long shot, but you can't keep looking at the agonized faces of everyone you love and do nothing. You move closer and try to lay down in your body, and once you get a certain amount of yourself, it's like it drags you in. You really wish you hadn't just seen the guy get dragged into a doll, because the similarity is upsetting. You can't move your body, you can't breathe, you're heavy and stuck in place. Solix's fingers press to your neck again, and your out-of-focus vision just shows you the tip of his horns as he slumps over your dead body with a sob. Why did you do this to you both? If you'd have known he was still alive, you wouldn't have been so reckless. Shit, what about the rest of your family? You were stupidly reckless, and you knew they were still around. You just didn't think. You were angry and brimming with rage at how you'd been treated, and you just wanted to hurt bro back for once. It doesn't seem worth this. You can't move, but mentally you try to reach out to Solix, to everyone. You're so sorry, you just want to fix things and stop all this hurt. Solix's head presses against your shoulder, his rough horns just touching your cheek. His hand drifts to your side, to your missing rib, the place that you suppose he once occupied within you. His fingers clench against your skin there, like he could get back there, like... Solix's fingers are warm on your side, and that warmth spreads through you. Your unfocused eyes catch the edges of a building, red and blue glow, and around you the others react in shock and surprise to whatever is happening. The warmth that Solux seems to be generating sinks through your skin and moves through your whole body like a bright golden honey trickling onto you. It floods through your veins and starts moving your blood again. Hands slide up under your skin, no, that sounds like something gross clawing about in your body, and that's not it at all. It'd be much more accurate to describe it as if you're feeling this on your soul. Your body isn't trapping you so much anymore because you're not alone in it. You know it's Solux. How could you not know? He's yours. He pulls you to him, and of course you hold him back just as tightly. You missed him so much. You were so scared for him. You're not even sure which one of you is thinking that. Probably both. His soul, a soul you started, but he grew himself, moves over yours and settles back into place where he came from. You're whole. Your throat stitches back together, and as it does, the rest of your body changes. You're bigger, older than you looked moments ago, with the combined years of memories you have between you. You're Dave, god of time. You stand, the armor you now wear clinking slightly as you get up. Your cape shifts behind you as you look around at the other people in the room. Dave? Karkat asks uncertainly, squinting up at you. Yes, you say a little uncertainly, but no. That is who you are. Why are you so big? What are you wearing? Jade asks as she reaches out and taps a fingernail on the breastplate of your armor. Where's Solux? He just dissolved or something. He was trying to heal you, Karkat asks. Unless you have a snake in your armor now. Not a dick joke, June adds that last part quickly. Damn, you hadn't even thought of that yet, and you've already been denied. Solux went back, Rose whispers, her hand over her mouth as she stares at you. Back where? Karkat demands, waving his arms wildly in the air. He's a familiar. He was the part of Dave that was still alive. He's back where he started out at. He's part of him again. He's been unmade or something like it. The Dirksendant, what kind of name is that? Says uneasily. You mean he's dead? Karkat shouts, making everyone but the Dirksendant wince. Panic floods you at Karkat's wounded expression. He thinks that Solux is... No, you blurt out. Karkat stares up at you, looking like he might cry already, but he shouldn't. You're fine. You're whole. You're here and so much stronger than you were before. You want to reach out and catch his face in your hands and assure him that you love him and that you're fine. At the same time, you want to shove him and flash him a grin, asking if he thinks you'd die that easily. The two conflicting urges paralyze you, and your whole body feels staticky and not great. They're separate people, too separate to be the same person for all that long. You can keep this up for a while, but not forever, Terezi observes. But you're so much more powerful now. Sure, you don't have the same amount of resurrection potential as you had before, but sometimes you need to just commit to doing something without planning an exit strategy. One thing you could do burns in your mind. You need to kill your father for all he's done to everyone. Everyone in this room has gone through shit thanks to him, and he needs to die. I don't need forever, you tell her. What's that supposed to mean? June asks warily. You draw a sword from your void and turn it in your hand a little. Finding him won't be hard. You know where he spends time, how he'd react to you going missing. You can find him and end him. Or die trying. Your mom stands up, and her warm hands touch yours, the one holding your sword. She looks up at you, teary-eyed, and searches your face. Baby, she whispers, and lifts her other hand up to cup your face. Baby, baby, she adds, and strokes your hair. Mom, I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm okay, really, you tell her as gently as you can. No, it's not me. Don't worry about... I'm so sorry, baby. Your mom sniffs and reaches up to hug you around your neck. Of course, you lean down with your free arm and hug her back. You're careful to keep your sword away from her, though, because you don't want her to get hurt. You don't have anything to be sorry for, Mom. You left the house and came to hell to find me. That's so much, you say. Your throat is tight. You know what the journey was like for her. You were there. You were watching her on the way to find you. You were in the car and near her in winter. You know. No, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. I gave you up. You grew up with that son of a bitch father. I wasn't there to protect you, she insists. That wasn't your fault. You didn't have a choice, you tell her firmly. You know that. Your mom looks away, her face twisted in pain, but she swallows the feeling down and looks back up at you, her eyes searching your face as she strokes. I still don't understand. What happened to Solix? What do you mean? What do you two mean? And we still haven't covered who the fuck you are anyway. Karkat flings the last accusation in the direction of the Dirksenden, who winces. I think they were implying that this is an older version, I suppose, of the person Dave was before he made Solux. Rose answers him. Right, you agree, even as your mom pulls you down to hug you and bury your face in her shoulder. But that means you're not either of them, that Dave and Solux are both dead or at least gone, Karkat shouts. I'm pretty concerned about that too, Jade agrees. That's a very oversimplistic way of viewing the problems inherent in self-identity in situations like this, the Dirksenden sighs. Karkat snarls and properly turns around to face the Dirksenden down, his new, oh-so-pretty wings flaring out in anger. You know what? I'm pissed as fuck about all this, and I don't care who June thinks you are. You're clearly involved in this, and the guy with your face started all this in the first place, so I'm about to start treating you like the feathery fucking piñata and beat you until answers come out, Karkat shouts at him. The Dirksenden's red eyes widen and his right wings flare out from his back, multiple sets that are far grander than Karkat's were when they were all feathery. The feathers prickle up and spread out in an avian threat display that seemingly translates to angels given the way that Karkat's own are responding. The glass of Karkat's halo shifts, the little pieces in it turning on edge to make something jagged and menacing. Better you don't, the Dirksenden warns him coldly. That's really on you. Answer our questions or we'll see how this goes, Karkat snarls, pulling his weapons out just as Dirksenden does the same. Whoa, hey, June says hurriedly, putting herself between them. You pull away from your mom and catch Karkat's arm in your hand. Hey, no, I know what he looks like, but he's fine. He was trying to revive me this whole time. It's not him, you assure Karkat. That's great, but I still don't know who you are, Karkat retorts, pulling his arm from your hand. He's my son, your mom says simply. Dave is your son, Karkat shouts. Yes, but this one was the one he physically took from me, she explains, though Karkat doesn't seem to consider this an explanation. Like I said, it's complicated, the Dirksenden says, and Karkat bristles in anger at his words. Okay, before this turns into some museum angel throwdown, how about you start explaining some things, Dirk? June suggests. I'm not Dirk, or I was, I'm not now. Not really, it's, the Dirksenden says hesitantly, his wings lowering, and he relaxes at talking to June. If you say it's complicated, I swear, Karkat starts, but Rose casually strokes his cheek and cuts him off, earning her a scandalized look from Dirksenden. Uncomplicated, then. What do you mean by you not being Dirk? You don't seem like the one I've seen since Hell changed leadership, June prompts him. He's not, you agree. June gives the Dirksenden a prompting look as he shifts uneasily, his wings tucking in close to him again. The idea of who is and isn't a person is complicated, but if you're thinking about Dirk, the angel that got sent down here to kill Caliborn, the one you met, he starts. Right, June nods. But I'm not him. I was... Alright, Dirk came down here. He had this stupid fucking sword and he killed Caliborn with it, and in doing so, the sword cut Dirk into. Kind of. There's me. I was Dirk, but I also didn't exist at all until that moment. I was on the floor watching as this other me stood there with the sword in his hand and what was left of Caliborn at his feet. He goes on. So the one with the sword became bro? That's why he was so different, because you weren't in him. June beams and snaps her fingers like she's just solved some big mystery. The question of why he became the way he is now is also complicated. I mean, were we the same when we split, or am I something different to him? If I'd been faster than him, would I be like him now? I don't know. Dirksenden shrugs. What do you mean by faster than him? June asks. There were two of us. We both couldn't rule. Dirk didn't go all the way and deal with all that. He did to spend an eternity negotiating with someone else, so he moved before I did. He ripped my soul out and jammed it into glass. I was a mirror for a while, and then eventually glasses. I didn't feel especially charitable towards helping him, so he found another use for me, the Dirksenden says quietly. He put him in Cal. He was like the processor or something. No free will, you ask, as a wary part of your mind fears that he could be tricking you somehow. Not really, but I'm not saying that to absolve myself of responsibility. You shouldn't be giving me credit here. Cal still needed my thoughts to run, so I'm still responsible, even if I didn't actively choose anything. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, that's too big, and the Dirksenden is cut off as June grabs him up in another crushing hug that she doesn't seem inclined to release him from. All the Dirksenden's protests get squeezed into one strangled noise as he pointlessly fights against God's strength and fails. You've been trapped in there all this time and I didn't know. I didn't get you out, June wails as she squeezes him tight. But what about Dave? Karkat interrupts, and though June stops squeezing the Dirksenden so tightly, she doesn't put him down. That is Dave. The Dave that pulled that spell off and got up to Earth is as much Dave as I am Dirk. It's the same thing, only he willingly turned into him, and Solux, it wasn't so extreme as it was with me, the Dirksenden answers. I'm like original flavor, you offer. That does sound like Dave, Jade concedes. I don't think it's the same at all. It's more like they're both possessing a new body, Matuna says with a shake of his head. So the question surely then is, can we get them both back to how we know them? Kanaya asks Matuna. Oh, shit. Kanaya and Matuna are together again. There's so much you remember being told about her. Oh, man. You can't wait to talk to the two of them, to the two of them together. Can you do that? Karkat asks, throwing you from your train of thought. Can you separate again? You could. You did it before. Besides, you've already paid the price for your Solux's creation. You just need another physical component, right? But that hurt. It hurt, and you're hurt enough. You're stronger like this, protected with all of your power in one place, unable to be separated by anyone else. You don't have to cross plains and travel miles and miles to get where you all, or to get you all while you're vulnerable. I can't, you say quietly and step back. You can, Terezi corrects you. I won't, then. I'm stronger like this. I can't be separated and unable to protect me. I need to be stronger, you insist. You press your hand to your armor, feel the gear design on your chest plate. Isn't this what he made you for, anyway? Bro wanted a kid who'd destroy, so you're going to destroy him. You already took Cal from him, now you're coming for him. Stronger for what? Karkat asks. He intends to fight him, to fight Bro, Rose says softly. Wait, I thought the whole deal with Solux was that he was able to revive Dave just like he did a minute ago. Sort of. Isn't he weaker when he's like this? Jade asks. Not really. Me and Dave are sort of the same right now. I don't have a familiar, and neither does he now. He's more powerful than before, full access to all his powers, but it's kind of a glass cannon situation. He's more powerful, but a lot easier to kill, June explains. Either I die or I don't. You shrug. Normally, I'd say yeah, those are the options, you fucking idiot, but lately I'm amazed at the rainbow of sort of dead and differently alive that my friends can be. I don't mean you either, Kanaya. Karkat adds that last part with a hasty look at her. Thank you for thinking of me, Kanaya says politely. You're not going to fight him. Neither of you are, your mom says firmly. What? He needs to die, Rose exclaims, and you agree with her on that. Yeah, side note, who is... The Dirksenden trails off, gesturing vaguely at Rose, but June shakes her head like it's a bad time to talk about who Rose is. Mom, I have to fight him. It's always been coming, and I keep running from it, but it doesn't work. The world's ending. I have to. You insist. No, your mom says firmly, her sharp pink eyes pinning you in place. You're a god. A fully realized and totally whole god with fucking god powers, and you're stuck hesitating because your entirely human mother just told you that you aren't allowed to do something. Shit. You'll have to ask Kanaya and Matuna if Signless ever had to deal with this kind of thing. He probably did. You're my son, Dave. I'm your mother. It's my job to protect you, and I've completely fucking failed at that for most of your life, she starts. Mom, no, that wasn't your fault. You try, but she talks over you. But I'm not going to let that continue now. No child of mine is facing that man. You don't need to be this because you don't need to fight him, she says. I do, though, you say. What else can you say to that? No, I'm going to deal with him, your mom says firmly. That's a terrible idea. He'll laugh at you and throw you into a pit of endless flesh-eating spiders. Actually, since he just lost Callan, I'm back, and Jake is done, he'll probably not even laugh and just straight up, and it'll just be straight to agonizing, mind-melting torture. Then I'll turn on the rest of us, the Dirkscendant says flatly. I will deal with him, your mom repeats, her words firmer. The Dirkscendant sighs and wriggles free of June's now lax grasp and moves closer to your mom. As he moves, your mom reaches into her jacket pocket as casual can be. Look, you're powerful and all for a human. I know that's why he picked you, but there's nothing you can do against anyone of more powerful species like... The Dirkscendant starts. He's cut off as your mother flings something at him that explodes on the floor with a flare of neon light. Glowing strings fly up into the air and then snap down around the Dirkscendant, pinning him to the floor with a scream. His body shudders, wings and faces appearing in places you're sure they shouldn't be. As your mom walks closer to him, she lifts her foot from the floor and pulls a shining knife from her boot. You know that knife. That's the knife that killed Kenkri. How did you get that? Rose exclaims, shoving her hand into her bag and not finding the knife at all. I gave birth to the goddamn Antichrist, and you don't think I didn't have a plan for how to kill an angel should I meet one? You think I didn't plan how to kill him or any god that crossed me? Your mom asks smoothly, crouching down by her trap with the still thrashing Dirkscendant in it. He freezes as your mom points the angel knife at him. Are you going to get in my way? She asks. Mom, please, you try. Let him go, June demands, her hair crackling with electricity. Your mom doesn't move an inch, just stares at the Dirkscendant. Are you going to stop me from dealing with Bro, formerly Dirk, current ruler of hell? She asks patiently. The Dirkscendant snarls something at her in a language that you don't speak, but one that has both Karkat and Matuna raising their eyebrows. Shit, you're lucky that God's dead talking like that, Matuna mutters. Bow to me, and I'll let you out, your mom says calmly. The Dirkscendant hisses at her, feathers shaking through the net that ensnares him, but he speaks again, and in English this time. I vow I won't knowingly disrupt whatever plans you have for Bro, the ruler of hell, he growls. Mom slides the dagger back into her boot, and she puts her hand into the net to shake one of Dirkscendant's. With that done, the line of red script fading around her palm, she stands up, snaps her fingers, and the trap vanishes. The Dirkscendant shudders all over as his form goes back to normal. I'm dealing with him. Dave, you don't need to stay like this. Let me protect you, your mom insists, walking back to you. Behind her, June helps the Dirkscendant to his feet, with both of them scowling at your mom's back. She reaches up to you again, taking your face between her hands. Baby, please. I need to fix this. I can't let you get hurt anymore, she pleads. She's so set on this, clearly motivated by guilt, at least in part, but you don't know what to do. You look at Rose and at Karkat, who, well, obviously he wants Solux back. He wants you back to the people he knows. You want that too. When you look at him, you hate him, and you love him, and just thinking about that makes your head hurt. Bro needs to be stopped, and as far as you are concerned, it had to be you. It's not like you want this, though you don't want to fight. You never have. Your mom is looking at you so pleadingly, and you don't know if you could stand the thought of dying on her or any of them again. Even if you weren't awake to see like you were just now, you'd know. It'd be your dying thought. You lift your hands to the clasp on your chest plate and pop it open. It clanks to the floor, and the noise echoes around this room of trophies of the other gods and other important people. Your hands brush to your side, the places where your rib was, and where your waist now curves a little more inward for its absence. You go to the other side, to the opposite rib, or to the opposite and still present rib. You missed Solux, and you missed Dave. You're both and neither, and one and the other all at once. You might be more magically powerful this way, but you don't feel stronger as such. You feel alone, and you always hated that. Everything that Solux is floods your mind. Every part of him that's perfect, that you love. He's been there for you, and he has his own life. He loves people that you don't, and hates one particular person that you love. You can't do all that as one person. You can't hang out with each other as one person. The two of you are together like this, but you're apart, too. You dig your fingers through your skin, reaching for your rib, and part of you, you know which part, is vaguely pleased that you'll be symmetrical again. You pull your rib out, pushing through the pain and giving Solux back everything you gave him before. When your vision clears, you're on the ground in your mom's arms with Solux tangled up with you. She's murmuring soft and sweet things to you both, whispering that baby nickname that she has for Solux into his hair. You stare a little as he opens his eyes, blinks all four a little out of order, and sees what's around him. Solux, you whisper. You'd been so sure for so long that he was dead, but then you were him, and now you're you, and... Solux doesn't so much say your name as shriek a few letters of your name, or of letters in your name very loudly, and flings himself at you, knocking you both out of your mom's arms. I thought I lost you forever, and I lost my rib, and then I died, and Carcat pulled some bullshit stunt, and then you were dead, and Solux is just yelling into your shirt now, so you scratch his hair and tip your head back to see the rest of your friends and family. Hi, you smile weakly at them. Hi, Dave, Rose says with a little laugh. Welcome back, asshat. You wouldn't believe the shit we've been through, Carcat says softly and vaguely insultingly. I would, actually. I have his memories of you rescuing him. Nice wings, you say, and then freeze. You tap Solux's shoulder quickly and urgently, and whisper for him to let you up. Slightly confused, he does so, but still clings to your side, his hand going over the place where your rib was a moment ago. Carcat, I have to ask something very important to you. Super important, you say completely straight-faced. I'm suspicious, but okay, what? Carcat says, squinting at you. Did it hurt? You ask. Oh, fuck. Solux gasps and buries his face in your back so he doesn't give the game away. Did what hurt? A lot's happened, so you're going to need to... When you fell from heaven, you finish. Carcat's jaw goes shut, and you see Matuna wince in the background. At your back, Solux shudders with just contained laughter. Yes, it did. It was the single most painful experience of my life, you absolute fucking cretin. Fuck it, I'm calling Aradia. I want a refund. I'm handing you both back to her. Carcat shouts at you. Hey, what did I do? Solux protests. Plenty, and you laughed. I saw you. Carcat snaps at him. Yeah, well, she likes me more, and you didn't get a receipt when you stole my soul back, so too bad, Solux sneers. I'm going to rearrange your fucking eyeballs, Carcat threatens. Your mother's arm sneaks around you, and she pulls you in for a hug, as Carcat and Solux continue to argue with increasing absurdity. I'm glad you're safe, baby. I was so worried, she says and kisses your temple. We're in hell, so safe is kinda... You came down here, though. You left the property. Are you okay? You ask in concern. In the background, Carcat threatens to shake Solux so hard that his eyeballs will start displaying fortunes like some magic 8-ball. I'm okay. I always knew this was coming, and I had a plan. I'm here now. I'll take care of all of this, she promises and strokes your hair. She stands up and pulls you up to your feet as well. Come on, she says softly, and squeezes your hand a little. With that said, she turns around and walks towards the door. The Dirksenden and June shift out of her way, but stare after her as she goes down the stairs. You follow after, but pause when you reach the Dirksenden. What do I call you? You're not Dirk, and you're sure as shit not Cal, you ask him, looking at him. I don't know. I've not had anyone talking to me in more time than I'd like to think about. I didn't think you wanted to talk to me either, so I wasn't thinking about it, he admits. I guess I get that. I think you were just as hurt by him as I was, though. So it's not like I blame you. Besides which, you tried to help me since you had the power to. You were nice to my body, even before you knew I could see you, you point out. It's also not a competition. Dave, what's your mom doing? June asks seriously, glancing down the way she left. I don't know. You hesitate and look at the Dirksenden again. You really can't help fight him now, since you vowed. The Dirksenden sighs and raises his hand, pink symbols etched around the palm and the back of his hand in a loop. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that, he says solemnly. You and June both react to the quote at the same time with surprised laughter, but your amusement just seems to confuse the shit out of Dirksenden. What? He asks, obviously lost. Wait, are you telling me that wasn't a deliberate quote? June giggles delightedly. From what? The Dirksenden asks. The movie, 2001's Space Odyssey, you say in a rush. No, it's not like I've seen a lot of movies. I was trapped in a nightmare puppet familiar, he says defensively. Oh, you could pick Hal as a name. It kind of sounds like Hal, but it's different. Like, you're different now, June says. And I should always remember everything I did as Cal. It'd be an effective reminder. The Dirksenden agrees quietly. That's a really sad way of looking at that, but I'm going to go with it because picking a name is a very important way of defining yourself. Even if the reason you go with it is weird, it doesn't matter because it's yours, she says and squeezes his shoulder. I've never understood why you're so aggressively nice to me, the descendant, or possibly Hal, says a little weakly as he looks at June, who just beams at him. That's just what June is like with people she likes. That's how she was with you. She's just a great friend. Because we're friends? Do you want to be Hal or something else? June asks. He looks between June and you, and then smiles slightly at June. You think it's funny, huh? Well, sure. Fine, who am I to argue with the god of dumb jokes? He says with a slight shrug and the tiniest of sneaky smiles. That's not what I am, June laughs. I said what I said. Hal says back. Dave, we should go. I don't know what your mom is doing, but her doing it alone would be bad, Matuna warns you. Shit, he's right. Several of your friends have already hurried off after her, and you catch up with Rose about halfway down the stairs. She's watching Karkat and Solix bicker about something as your mom waits in the doorway to the building. You can't just go steal magic items, Karkat insists. I can, I have, and I will, Solix counters. I mean, that didn't work out great last time. Or, well, it did for you, but not for me. Or maybe everything had to happen exactly this way because of fate? Rose, help me out here, you say as you look from Hal to Rose. That's a bigger philosophical discussion than I'm really prepared to get into right now. What with the complex nature of causality, predetermined fate, and if one can steal something that's already been stolen. Rose shrugs. Boys, stop. Karkat, I need the car back again. Your mom interrupts. I'll go outside and get it. Karkat nods, walking out of the door and reaching to his chest as he does so. A car inside doesn't really help. Good job working that out, Solix calls after him. You anywhere doesn't really help, but here we are, Karkat shouts from outside. I really don't need to hear all of this, but what the fuck? I guess I'm cursed. The other demon, Solix's memories tell you they're Sarava, says with a snort of amusement. I'm so excited for this. I've been waiting for this whole trip. Terezi grins wolfishly and hurries down the stairs. Oh, waiting for what? Is there a plan we don't know about? Hey, come back here! Rose calls after Terezi, who ignores her and pulls your mom out the door, arm in arm with each other. Well, shit, you guess you're going along with whatever's happening. Your considerably large group gets outside to the now very different-looking car. Your mom is climbing in the driver's side door and talking to Karkat through the open window. Just get in, she tells him. But I need to make the car invisible with June. On the outside. You need to get in. So get, your mom insists. Hearing the command, you guess that Beck decides to do this job for him. He hops out the car with a bark and proceeds to herd Karkat inside and then turns to do the same to everyone else who is not already in. You end up squished between Jade and Hal on far more seats than the car used to or even should have. Roxy, we're not invisible. Ah! June has been leaning over the front seat to try to talk to your mom, but her suddenly flooring it put a stop to that, and June winds up sprawled on the floor. The whole situation isn't helped by Terezi looking over the back of her seat at your mom's side and snickering at the very irritated June. Your grip on the seat underneath you is white-knuckle tight as your mom drives as fast as she can and as erratically as she can. Wait, look out, Kanaya cries out, but nope, apparently your mom meant to run over two demons and a large directional sign. You only just stay in your seat as the car jumps from the people she ran over. Exactly what is the plan? Because it seems like getting us all fucking killed. Can I get out? Sarava squeaks as the car swerves, and they're squished up between Matuna and the door. Roxy, I'm not getting in the way, but that is the direction of the tower. Hal shouts up the car. Everyone got their seatbelts on, kids, Terezi asks loudly. Several people in the car protest that they are, in fact, older than Terezi. Terezi seems chronically short of fucks to give, so instead you just hurry to get your own seatbelt in order as Jade does the same. From your position in the back of the car, you can more or less see a straight shot up the front and through the windscreen. Sure enough, you can see the distant shape of the tower, but more importantly, a very armed and angry-looking demons. Your mom swerves the car so the back fishtails out and slams into a building. A few demons scatter, and others try to grab for the car, but she's already gunning it away from the building she hit, one wall of it toppling over the rest like a house of cards. Oh, I felt that, Rose gasps. Right, the car is powered by her now. Solix remembers that, so you guess you do too. Either way, the place on the car that hit the building is fine, and not caved in and destroyed in any way. He's definitely noticed that, even without Cal telling things. He'll know about this, Cal says under his breath, craning his neck to look out the window that shows the tower with its still swirling storm. You're not feeling great about this, you've got to admit. The car skids to a stop facing the tower and the building she just smashed through. The demons around aren't foolish enough to just run at the car, but they also have to do something, so they all seem to be nervously watching the car and each other. Your mom revs the engine. Once, twice. All at once, she floors it, sending you all hurtling towards the toppled building. She uses its fallen side like a giant ramp, and all at once the car is airborne. June gasps and clenches a fist, and the car suddenly gains an amount of air that you could describe as unreal. You drive, your mom says, squirming out of the seat and letting Trezzy take her place. She's blind, Rose yells, but your mom doesn't respond. The higher you climb in the air to avoid hitting the tower, the more you can see, and what you can see makes your blood freeze. Standing on the roof is Bro. The car is headed straight to him, and he actually looks surprised. He's a god, though, and even though hitting him with a car is very cool, it's nowhere near enough to kill him. It doesn't even really hurt him. He catches the front of the car and slides backward across the roof a little, but he's fine. Your mom slams the sunroof of the car open and stands up on it. Her arms held in the air as she talks. It starts to glow, and dark orange text that winds all over her skin, covering her entire arm. Dirk Strider, former angel of heaven, current ruler of hell, bro. You made a deal, and you didn't hold up your end of the fucking bargain. You owe me, she shouts at him, and he recoils, dropping the car to the rooftop. What are you talking about? My son is the Antichrist. He's ending the world just like you agreed to. I owe you nothing, he snaps at her. He is not, and he can't be. You reneged on our deal, and by the covenants of our deal, I have a right to have an educated group of your peers to adjudicate our disagreement on our deal, which in your case would be God's. I'm taking you to court, motherfucker. Consider yourself served, she hisses gleefully. Fucking end of chapter. Let's go. Fucking Ace Attorney time, bitches! Yes! Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Who needs a fucking climax fight when you were gonna go fucking Ace Attorney? Yes! My god, take the devil to court. Let's go! Woo! Definition, I'm taking you to court, motherfucker. God damn. Oh my god. What a chapter. Holy shit. The image of Roxy fucking car crashing into hell, car crashing into the devil, and like popping out of the sunroof and being like, you fucker, I'm taking you to court. Who needs a climax when you have a custody battle? Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Oh, tomorrow's chapter is fucking huge, which actually makes sense. Oh my god, both chapters are gonna be huge. Oh boy. Tomorrow is gonna be a fucking night. Whew. We're getting so close. We only have 2 more left. My god. That was fun. Oh my goodness. I have so much energy. Tomorrow's chapter is a super fun one. I forgot like everything else that happened in this chapter. I was so excited for Hal. Yeah. Oh my god, I adore this fic so much. Yeah. It's so great. It's so great. Yeah, it ends with a court battle with the devil over custody of the Antichrist. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. Well, as usual, I'm not going to stay super long because I have work to get done, sadly. But it was lovely reading this chapter. I'm so pumped for the final ones. Tomorrow we're going to read 44. And then what? Wednesday we'll read 45, and that'll be the end. So thank you so much, all of you guys, for joining. And we'll be back tomorrow. So have a lovely rest of y'all's nights. And I will see you guys all tomorrow, 9 p.m. EST, same time, same place. Have a lovely night, y'all. Bye. Bye. Wow.